Not see, still trying to troubleshoot even before this live has started. Hey, happy people, welcome back to part two of my live series. Yeah, as in, this is a little experiment that I'll be going live every Monday between 7 and 8 p.m. So, welcome, 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 welcome. And as you can see from the title, for today's live, I'll be talking about navigating photography as an introvert. I think for some people who know me or have interacted with me, might not think that I'm an introvert, but this is a topic that I really wanted to talk about. Because in the recent months, certainly in the last year that I've been out and about photographing, I've felt some type of way in certain spaces, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to come and talk about being an introvert in the world of photography. So yeah, because in often times photography can be viewed as a very social and extroverted field to work in because you're interacting with so many people, except when you're obviously in your studio, like in this space, like in your office editing, you're all alone. In most cases, most of us are always alone, but when you're outside in the world, we're always interacting with people, and it can be quite a challenge. So I just wanted to come in here and discuss how do you go about navigating this space as an introvert. But before we get started, a few housekeeping things, because we know I'm using technology and anything can happen. So if my live cuts off, I'll try and reconnect. If not, I'll just leave it as is and we'll catch you on the next one. Also, I'm at home, so my family is here, so I might be interrupted. Yeah, I guess mom life and all of that. And yeah, I can't think of anything else, but yeah, let's get started. As in, with regards to this, I will be looking down because I'm looking at my notes, and on the side, I have my other screen where I'll be looking at the chat box, making sure like people are if they leave me any questions or comments, I'll be reading those. That's why I'll be looking on the side for the most part. But today I'm not going to be sharing anything like on the screen. We'll just be having a chat. I mean, at the end of the day, this is let's chat with me. So introduction, do I need to do another introduction? Should I do introductions every day? I don't know. But anyway, for those who are here or watching this for the first time, hi, my name is Elsie and I'm a photographer, and my areas of photography are portraiture, sports, events, and documentary photography. So yeah, let's get started. So actually I'm gonna look for my phone, of which I cannot find at this point in time. I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's in my bag. I literally, before we get started, I literally rushed home because I didn't think I was gonna start this live on time. But here I am. I managed to get home in time to start it. So yeah, I'm just gonna set up my phone, yeah, and make sure that my notes are accessible and everything. So yeah, probably I think a little bit of context as to how I got into photography, and then we can probably move on to my introversion and all that. So I got into photography. I think my earliest relationship with photography is when I was a childish, childish, a child into teenagehood. Yeah, but it wasn't something that I did often. But I have photographs, like childhood photographs that I certainly took of myself and my sibling, my family. And looking at those photographs, I was kind of like glad that I have them because, like I said, it was not a common thing to be taking pictures at home, especially when you do not have a camera access to a camera all the time, or even if you had access to a camera, you didn't have access to film, because I came from the age of film, and developing film was expensive, because it was not it was deemed a luxury. Actually, photography was deemed a luxury, but I got into photography because of my earliest memories with it. The whole looking back at my photo albums that I have with me. I think I'll share those at another date, or another live. But looking at my old pictures of me growing up, the few that I have anyway, which I'm very lucky to have, and later on going into going into college and doing graphic design, and then there was a module in that graphic design course that had photography elements in it, and I was more intrigued in that because I always liked taking pictures. Because when I came to this country in the early 2000s, I think one of the first things I remember buying was a camera because I really wanted to document myself in this space. Like, I was new here, culture shock and all of that, but I knew somewhere in my subconscious, I knew documenting myself would be beneficial. I don't know, because I still have some of those pictures up until today. And I just bought a cheap old camera. I don't have it now. I don't know where it went. It was just one of these supermarket brands, and it wasn't one of those disposable cameras. It was a usable camera, a film one, I remember, but it was from a supermarket because that's all I could afford. It was cheap. But obviously, as time went by, I ended up buying better and better cameras. But I remember buying my first camera in a supermarket with film. And back in those days, the way it used to work is like, you buy a camera with film. When you take your film to be developed, especially from where I used to take the film to be developed, you would get a free roll of film for developing the film with the lab. So essentially, film was kind of free. Obviously you pay for the cost of developing, but they would always encourage you to come back by offering you a free roll of film. So, and that's it, continued from there. But obviously, with time and expenses and technology changing from film into digital, I kind of have to take a break because I wanted to transition as well, because film was also getting more expensive. The whole free film thing stopped, and then also digital was expensive. Getting a camera was expensive as well, but I ended up like saving and buying my first DSLR camera. I think digital camera was like point and shoot, and then I got point and shoot cameras, and then I transitioned into DSLR. And I think I still have my first DSLR. I think I explained this in my earlier video. But with that, I think photography for me has been a tool of probably self-expression, just a way of me being able to navigate the world and put myself out there. And I was more comfortable photographing around my friends, and it was always a point of conversation when it came to my friends, because that's how I got also into photographing more and more and more, because I had a comfort zone by photographing my friends. But I knew if I wanted to expand and do photography long term, something had to give. So I figured like I don't know if I realized that I needed formal training. I don't know what it was, but I knew something was missing. And probably at that stage is when I went to uni and stuff like that, probably to have a foundation in it. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know, but I knew something was missing, and I needed some sort of help with navigating the whole photography world in a way. And those are, I think, my earlier challenges. Yes, I was photographing my friends and everything, but I knew I wanted more out of it. And yeah, like I said, always I wanted to go and photograph people, but I didn't know how to approach it. Do projects, I didn't know how to approach it. So yeah, I think in that sense, I went to uni, and that kind of helped me like formulate my ideas on how I wanted to work within photography and stuff like that. And it also challenged me to come out of my shell more, because when you're in a university setting working in a creative project, you cannot do it alone. You have to do it with other people. Yes, you can create your ideas alone and all these things, but it helps you speak about your work, because you have to explain your work, especially in class. Like, what are you working on? What does it mean? Why are you doing it? Especially the why. The why was the important thing. And for somebody who's like, I'm so into my own head and mind and being like, I wouldn't say like necessarily shy, because that's one thing. Introversion people confuse it for being shy. I can be a bit of both, but introvert is more out there than being shy. It kind of like takes you out of that element of being an introvert. But I know in the early days, even in class, you're told to explain something. My sentences were quite short. Like when you're told to explain a project, I would say, this is what it's about. And yeah. And I finish my sentence with that, yeah. And as in, I don't want to be in front of the class and explaining my work, explaining my thoughts, my ideas. I was always writing things down. And I think that kind of helped me put my ideas across by writing them down. My writing is not perfect by any means. It's not perfect, but it helps me keep my ideas in check, like I don't forget, because I'm always in my head with a lot of things. And yeah, those are the early challenges that I faced with regards to navigating photography as an introvert and trying to work my way into this world. But I do appreciate being in that educational environment, because it helped me come out of my shell a bit more. And yeah, you see, even now I'm thinking about it, I'm losing my train of thought when it comes to that. But it also helped me, like, there's some projects when I needed people to work with, and sometimes because your classmates are working more or less on their own projects, I had to go out and look for people. So you can imagine me running around campus just asking people, hey, I'm working on this project, do you mind coming to the studio to help me? I can photograph you. You see, like, trying to formulate those words and asking people to sit for me and pose for me and all of that. And it kind of worked, because I did get a few images of people that I did photograph through that whilst in campus. And it kind of encouraged me to be out there more. And I ended up, at one point towards the end, I ended up even approaching the sports teams, especially basketball. They were really open with me coming to photograph for them. The basketball team at uni, shout out to Coach Clive. So yeah, thank you. If you're watching this, I won't mention the university. It's on my website anyway. But yeah, that helped me as well, like, come out of my shell more. Yeah, and just learning how to ask people to work with me and collaborate with me. It's taken a long time to find my comfort zone with regards to that. Nowadays, how I do it, if it's not face to face, I'd rather email people. I'd rather like DM you on social media or look for your website if you have a website, and then try and email you and tell you, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Do you mind us like hopefully hopping on a call like on Zoom or Meets or something, just to introduce ourselves to each other, and then let's see if we can gel, and then we can meet up and collaborate and do a photograph session with each other. And yeah, I've done quite a few like that, and that's how I've kind of like navigated this space of working as a photographer, as an introvert person. And yeah, at one point I also wanted to try and do like a bit of street photography, but I quickly realized that was not for me. I'm quite shy. Even when I was trying to take pictures, like even on myself, not necessarily approaching people, just taking pictures, but I find it a bit creepy personally. Shout out to people who do street photography. You do your thing, go out there and do everything that you do, because you guys are amazing. But for me, I found it to be a bit cringe. I don't think I would do that. If anything, I would do it probably in a group setting, as let's say a photo walk. I would probably do it in that sense, but alone, I don't see myself doing street photography, because I'm really, really not about to be entering people's space like that. So, yeah. So, and that's another way I kind of approach photography in a sense, because I do enjoy photo walks, because with photo works the settings are really, really sometimes quite small, and because every photographer is out doing their thing in a group setting, I actually prefer talking to people one on one, even if it's in a group. Or let's say a group of 10 people, we're like three of us, me and two other people, just chatting. I i actually prefer that, and then after a while I just go off and do my thing. That's how I kind of navigate that space as well. But I do thrive in photo walks, because I know how photography can be very, very lonely, very, very lonely, because you're always in your element, like just doing your thing, working on your projects, especially if you work alone a lot, like if you're out on a photo session doing photography or portraiture. Like in my case, I can find myself, I'm in the studio by myself, and the client or the person who's sitting or I'm collaborating with. I've hardly found myself in a space where I'm working as part of a team. It's very rare for myself. I wouldn't mind it, but it's very rare that you'd find me working with like a makeup artist, an assistant and stuff like that. Most of the times I work alone. And I kind of like it like that, but at the same time, I really want to challenge myself more and put myself out there to work as part of a team. But I've never found the opportunity to do so. So if you're offering a space for me to come and assist you, please, yeah, shout me out. I'd really like to challenge myself in that sense. But yeah, I tend to work one on one in the studio and just engaging with a client, or especially when I'm doing portraiture work. Or if I have somebody with me, it's normally, in most cases, I've had a friend who I'm working with, somebody I've worked with before, or I'm talking a fellow photographer. That's what I'm trying to say. A fellow photographer who I'm friends with, and we are in the same space together, because I find it like it's a bit comforting for me to work in a space with somebody like that. But because if I find myself working with somebody who I hardly know of, we've never met before, I tend to be like, I just take a step back and don't say much in a room. I'm just observing and reading the room and seeing what needs to be done, and then I start engaging with the person. So sometimes because I don't ask or I don't necessarily engage a lot, people might think I'm a bit snobby, or I don't. It's like I'm a bit like I don't know what I'm supposed to do when I'm in that space. Sometimes I feel like that as well, but also I know like it takes a while for me to warm up to an environment, especially when I don't know anyone. It takes a while for me to warm up. But if I keep going back again and again and again, eventually I'll start to say, okay, I've already observed these people. They're okay. They're like this. I can start talking to them. I can say a quick hi and everything. And yeah, like that. So, and I think this is why I also wanted to talk about this, especially because there's a time I came down here, I came at my desk and I just sat down and I picked up my phone and I started talking to the camera on how I felt when I was in a particular space. But I never shared that video. I think it was probably a record for myself. I can't even find the recording now if I tried to, but it just hit me like I entered this space and it took me better part of let me just be honest, like when I was doing the PWR season, when I was going to like let's say the press room or whatever, I was constantly there technically from day one, like the home games apart from one or two. I was every weekend, I was there. And it took me like better part of, let's say, half or 3/4 of the season before I started saying hell, like constantly engaging with the people who I could see more often in the room, because I was still like warming up to everyone and saying hello and just approaching them and saying, hey, this is me. What do you, as in, what do you normally do besides this, and all of that, just questioning and just asking and just engaging, and then also sharing like contacts like social media links and all of that. So, and I was wondering like, why am I like why am I like this? But at the same time I'm like, I kind of have to make peace with me being an introvert. Like that's just me. I will go in a space, I will look around the room and just pick my, like, let's say a press room, for in this instance like sports, because that's what I've done the most, and it's very social. There's a lot of people coming in and out of that room or in those spaces. So I'll just enter the room, pick a spot like where to put my cameras, my laptop, just, and then sit down and start doing my thing, setting up my camera and all of these things. And then with time, when I enter the room and I see the same faces, I'll say hello and all of that. And yeah, sometimes I have to prepare like the day before mentally, as in, how am I going to approach this? How am I going to enter the room? Who am I going to see there? Is it going to be a quiet game? Because sometimes you get quiet games, like there's hardly anyone in the press room. I could find like the only freelance photographer, and then there's a what is it called, the staff photographer is there, and I'm the only one who's the other photographer there in some instances. And in some instances the place is packed because it's a popular game. So it's also preparing myself for such instances, as in, what am I going to do? Am I going to vlog that day? If I'm going to vlog, how am I going to approach it? How am I going to document myself in this space? What am I going to, yeah, I don't know, what am I going to do before, during, and after the game, all of these things. So yeah, it's just preparing myself mentally when I get there. But sometimes, the sun is back. Let me switch my camera this way. Yeah. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting about this sun, and I can't lower the blind because if I lower the blind, it will be dark in this room. Anyway, yeah. So as I said, I have to prepare myself mentally before, during, and after the session or a game, when I'm like photographing sports, especially because that's a bit challenging. But how I've come to learn to approach certain spaces is, especially if I've been talking to, let's say, the press manager or the person who'll be in charge on the day. When I enter the room, if it's the same person constantly, I will just say hello. I'll obviously say hello to them. But if for the first time I go into the space, I will look for the person who's in charge and introduce myself. So that's how I go about doing that. Just to like kind of put myself at ease. Like, hey, this is the person who's in charge. If I have any issues or problems, it's the person I need to approach, or if anything. And they also know who I am. It's not just like, because we've been talking on email and all these things, it's good to put a face to the name, so to speak, so at least they know, hey, that's Elsie, she's introduced herself, and vice versa. This is this person who's dealing with all of this. And the more I'm always going back to the same space, I'm always like friendly with them, saying hello, and it kind of helped me handle that kind of social anxiety, so to speak, in that scenario. And I've taken that from one event, in this case, because I'm talking of sports a lot, to other stuff. Because if I'm doing other events or I'm in another environment where I'm new and not known, I've come to this realization that I have to go and introduce myself to whoever is in charge of the space, whether it's the press manager or whoever is running things. It depends on who it is. I've made it a habit to like introduce myself to the people who are on the ground, and they look that they're in charge, so they kind of know who I am and what's happening. And it, in a small way, it puts me at ease. And then obviously, I navigate the space, I do my thing. Obviously looking around and seeing what other people are also doing. If I see other photographers, I just say a quick hello to them as well. I introduce myself. From just saying hello and just little interactions, I tend to see what kind of vibe they're giving out. So it depends. If they give me a positive vibe and stuff like that, obviously we're in an environment where we're all working, but if they give me a positive vibe, I will keep engaging with them, and we'll exchange like social media stuff and all of that. But in some instances, you'll find people are not very receptive, and I've learned with time just to say my hellos and just keep doing what I'm doing and just move on to the next person or the next thing that I'm doing in that space. So yeah, and that's how I've tend to like handle myself in certain spaces and stuff like that. When it comes to one-on-one, like working with individual clients and stuff like that, what I tend to do is see how well we work with each other, talk to them. And this is where I think having a what is it called? Having a pre-consultation call with a client is very beneficial, because there's no pressure whilst you're on the job, because you've already met beforehand. And it took me a while to get into that, because before I was just like, oh, the photo session is tomorrow, I just show up. And then you find there's a bit of tension and conflict. By the time I warm up, it's time to go. As in, why was I putting myself under that kind of pressure? So I've learned over time to have a pre-consultation call before any job. Just it's like, I think, good practice for anything. I guess, like, it's a good way of just having remove all the things that you think might go wrong on the day, or even if it goes right, it helps ease things, makes the day of the shoot or your session, whatever, run smoothly. I think so. So this is how I've managed to handle a lot of all these anxieties that come with me just being a very quiet person, and just trying to figure things out. And I've realized with time this is how I am. Like, I will enter a space and I'll be like very quiet, just navigating the space on my own, hardly engaging with anyone. Yeah. And it's not easy. It's not I can't even speak. It's not easy. Even me doing this live is, I'm feeling some type of way. It's like, oh, and I'm alone. I'm in this room, I'm alone. I feel kind of like shy. And I guess this is why I also wanted to do this, is to come out of my shell more and just be out there. And I don't know, are people, if you're watching this now live, like, do you feel some sort of way? Are you an introvert? If, just leave a comment in the chat, like, do you have introverted tendencies when you're in spaces, or are you an extrovert? Even if you're an extrovert, how do you deal with you bringing yourself down a peg or two? Whereas in my case, I have to bring myself up a peg or two. Like, how do you deal with you being in spaces? Yeah, being either an introvert or an extrovert. Please, I would love to know. Leave a comment in the chat. If you're watching this after the live, I would like to know. Leave your comments in the comment section and explain, like, how do you navigate these spaces as an introvert or as an extrovert. I'd love to really get to hear some of your stories, to be honest. Overcoming a lot of these challenges is never easy. It takes time. Certainly it's taken me a long time to figure how things are, figure how I am within certain spaces. I notice that I do panic a lot sometimes, especially when things go wrong. I have this thing of like, what am I gonna do? How am I going to? So, and then I kind of remind myself, Elsie, calm down. It's already happened. Just figure out the next step, But sometimes it's hard to hide it from my face. You can literally see on my face something is wrong. Or I tend to ramble a lot, or talk a lot, or laugh a lot. There's some things that I normally do when I'm like, when things go wrong. So I have to remind myself, like, hey, just calm down, take a deep breath. Okay, find a solution and make it work. If it doesn't work, if it's a session that's sometimes things don't go according to plan, probably wrap it up and then work with what you've got, whatever images that you've got up until then, or something. I don't know, but and I guess also when it comes to having tools to help you like calm you down, I find myself always gravitating towards the same camera kit that I have, that I've used all the time. It's become like a really bad obsession. Like, if I have something new, it will take me a long time to get comfortable with it and to photograph with it, because now at this point in time, actually, I'm transitioning from using my DSLR into mirrorless. And now, because I don't have all the kit that I have, I'm mixing between the two, and then I end up using the DSLR more because I'm comfortable with it more than the mirrorless camera. And even with that, I have a smaller mirrorless camera, my M50, which I was using for filming a lot. It took me also a long time to warm up to using my Osmo Pocket 3. So the transitions between kits also, it takes me quite a while. And then now, because I use the Osmo Pocket 3 so much, I've hardly touched my M50. I can't remember the last time I touched my M50 to take pictures, to film with. Like, I think even if I pick it up now, I'll forget. I think I would have forgotten how to even set it up. I'm kidding, but that's how I kind of use my gear to my advantage, in a sense. Like, I will have one piece of gear for the longest time. I'm not the type of person to be switching gears left, right, and center. First, financially, I can't afford it anyway. So with whatever I have, I'll keep it for a very long time. And with that, I know how to use it, and I know how to be quick with it, and I know what works for me, and I'm comfortable with it. Like my 7D, even if my friend was to hear me say this, I had that camera when she sold it to me in 2012. I literally got my R7 when? End of 2023, 23, I think. I can't even remember. But that's what I've been using all through, my Canon 7D. And then I got my R7 as a Christmas present to myself, because obviously everything is moving to mirrorless. So I said, let me save up and then transition into mirrorless. But obviously I had my M50, but my M50 was more for filming than for taking pictures. Like when I'm out and about taking pictures for clients and stuff like that. So my 70 was my go-to camera. And my M50 was like my kind of my second camera. And then now I've got my R7. So I've worked with both. And then obviously my previous video, I mentioned that I do loan cameras if I'm out on jobs. So that's how I've managed to like use my gear in my advantage to make me feel comfortable in how I navigate this space. Because once I know I have something that I use constantly and I know how to use it, kind of also put me at ease. Like, I don't have to ask somebody for help or questions. And that's another thing about being an introvert. We work alone a lot. Like, working in an environment where there's so many people, it can become overwhelming, especially for me. So yeah, but having said that, how I've managed to overcome this is by doing networking sessions. Earlier I've mentioned I do photo walks, so it gets me out of being alone, working alone all of the time. So I love doing photo walks. I love attending networking sessions with, be it other creatives or other communities. Let's say, like, I'm part of a network to do with sports, women working in sports. I'm part of that network as well. I'm part of Black Women Photographers. That's another community network. And others, like, I can't name them here. Sorry for forgetting you. But yeah, I'm part of all these communities, and it helps when they have forums, meetups, and all of these things. I tend to attend them. If I can, I will attend them. And it also helps me just be in a room with other people where we have something in common, and yeah, just talk about whatever's happening in that scenario. And yeah, it helps me like be more out there, even as an introvert. Sometimes I'll enter even at networking events, I'll just be quiet, like listening and observing. And yeah, I will speak when the chance to speak comes about. I will speak, but I don't tend to do it a lot. And also, but after the event, you'll find that I'm like, okay, that event was enough for this month. I'll probably attend another one a month or two later. So, but at least I'm trying. I'm trying. For me, attending a networking event is a small win. But I also like the fact that I get to engage with people sometimes one on one rather than in a group, in, in in like a huge group. Like even in those networking events, you tend to speak sometimes to people one on one, which is good. It's great for me. And then once it's almost done, I'm like, okay, bye, see you later, and off I go. So yeah, so it is beneficial. Like if you feel like you're an introvert, attend networking events. It might like something that you feel comfortable being in a room with other creatives like yourself, or even if it's not a creative environment, try to look for something that might help you elevate your business or something. You can attend a businessing event, because you never know, especially as us photographers, we're looking for accountants, I don't know, somebody to help you with mentorship for your business, to build your business. So networking events really do help with that as well. So yeah, and also I've put myself out there to be like a mentor, to help somebody, because you can, like I said, photography can be very lonely, especially when you work alone. And then you're out there, you work alone, you come home. Like in my instance, I come home, I sit in front of my computer, I'm alone editing and all of that jazz. So being part of mentorship programs, being part of communities, whether it's online or physically, really really helps you like come out of your shell a bit, of your introversion in this field. Again, if you're here and you're watching, like, I will ask the question again, like, are you an introvert? If you are, how do you navigate certain spaces as an introvert? I would really love to know how your thoughts on this. Yeah, probably this one, I'm even getting thirsty. Hold on. This might probably be one of my shortest lives, because I don't think I can talk much more on it, to be honest. But yeah, my takeaways from being an introvert, probably a short recap is like, as I said, when I'm in a room, in a space where there's so many people and it's a room like for events or like sports, I tend to look for the person who is in charge and introduce myself. That kind of puts me at ease, knowing who's in charge in case I need anything or I have questions with regards to the event, or if I need access to something, I can go to them and ask them, hey, da da da, rather than assuming. Because in some instances, some spaces, you need like permission to do certain things. That's one thing, like introducing yourself. Just put yourself out there, look for the person who's in charge in a particular space, and just say hello. And also, even towards the end, sometimes if they're still there, go back and say thank you, I had a great time. And yeah, and just say, yeah, if anything comes up, you have my email, just email me and let me know. Sometimes it does help just to acknowledge the people before the event and after the event, if it's possible. So that's one thing I've learned to do in certain spaces. When I'm working with clients, especially new people, now I've made it a habit to have a consultation call, like a pre-session call, just to introduce ourselves to each other, especially if it's somebody I don't know, they were referred to me. I make sure we have that phone call before the event. This way we know whether we are going ahead with the event or the photo session or anything. that is something that I've made sure it's part of my it's part of how I work as a photographer, because it helps me also put me at ease, knowing like, yeah, if I go into this room with this person, this this is what needs to be done. And yeah, so that we can have the best experience for both of us. It can't be just one-sided. It has to be a good experience for both of us, and eventually we might work again together. So at least in a way, this pre-consultation call helps with that, right? And yeah, that's another thing. Joining communities, like I said, having online communities or physical communities with people, like-minded people within photography or business or just in general, really does help, like engaging with these people and just talking to them, because you can always reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm stuck here, can you help me? How do I navigate this space? How do I get unstuck? And stuff like that. So it does help. And even when you're in the space and you see like-minded people, especially for me, I like seeing other female photographers, especially in sports, because you're very few of us in this space. So when I see other photographers, especially women, I try and approach them and say, hello, how are you? This is me. I introduce myself. We exchange contacts. And yeah, I've made a few friends this way. So, and we're still talking up until now. So yeah, that's a good way of just, when you're in a space and you're seeing like you're in the minority and you're seeing other person there, it's good to also engage in that way. It kind of like helps as well, get out of your shell a bit, get out of your introversion. Having pre-written like templates for emails with clients and just tweaking them when I want to engage with them and communicate with them also helps, especially when you're trying to explain what you do. If it's the first time you're introducing yourself, it kind of helps, because it removes a lot of that anxiety of approaching people, because it can be a bit daunting, especially when you want to put yourself out there more. So I always have templates ready to go. All I just do is tweak it according to the job and that. And also, yeah, sometimes I also come home, like I said earlier, I always come home. And at one point I came home and I just picked up my phone and recorded myself, because this is how I felt at a particular scenario after a photography job or a photography gig. And I didn't share it. I just recorded myself speaking about it, because my intention was to share it, but after talking about it, because I was just rambling, I decided not to share it. But in a way, it was kind of like a self-reflection and trying to figure out, was I wrong? Did I do the right thing? This is how I felt in the moment. What do I need to do to make me not feel this way the next time? Asking myself those questions and reflecting about that scenario and moving on. And also knowing my boundaries as well. Like, will I be able to do this, or will I not be able to do this? And if I don't want to do this, I ask myself why I don't want to do it. And if I say no to this person, will I be able to say no to the next person? As in, just trying to figure out those boundaries and how much I can and cannot do at a particular situation. And I guess that's how it is. But with time, I've learned this is an ongoing process of me learning about myself in certain spaces, because every space will be different. There'll be some similarities, but it will be different. So for me, it's also learning what I learned from this space. What can I apply from this space to the next space? And also unlearning a lot of things as well as I go along. So every day is always constantly figuring something new about myself as I work in this space and navigate photography as an introvert. And yeah, I don't know, I hope this has been kind of insightful for some of you out there, because yeah, it can be a bit daunting. But you know what? Sometimes I find it refreshing in a sense, like, yeah, I'm just here by myself. I don't want to cause trouble. Let me just do my thing, take my pictures, and just go. You know, sometimes it can be also, in a way, helpful when you don't engage with a lot of people, because you can find yourself being distracted by a lot of things in your head when you know, I'm here to do this job. Let me do the job, wrap it up, and move on to the next thing. Sometimes being an introvert helps, you know, because you're not out there like, I don't know, talking, and all these things, and engaging with so many people. Yeah, sometimes it can be a positive thing, I find, anyway, personally, because I will find myself like, I can come here and just sit in my own space and I'll be comfortable with it and not think about anything else. But yeah, um, this I think has been one of those quiet ones as well. I guess people are out enjoying this glorious weather we've been having. I know it's a Monday, but still. But I appreciate for those who have come and watching and watched from the beginning till the end. I really appreciate you. There isn't much going on in the chat, but yeah, if you're like I said, if you're watching this after the live has ended, I would really love to know, like, again, I'll ask the question, are you an introvert in a creative field? Like, how have you yourself managed to navigate the space being an introvert as a photographer, where you need to talk to people and engage with people and stuff like that? And yeah, do you feel like being an introvert is your superpower? I don't know. I certainly kind of a little bit. I do think it's a superpower for me. But yeah. And yeah. So I guess looking at the chat, there aren't any questions, unless whoever is here watching, they have a question for me, but I'm not seeing anything popping up. Just as a quick reminder, because we only have like 8 minutes left in this live, so I probably just will end it. But I just wanted to remind everyone again, for me, doing these lives is obviously overcoming being an introvert. Clearly, this is where I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to like come out of my shell more, put myself out there, talk about my challenges and my wins about being photographer, and of course just sharing a little bit about myself in this space as a photographer. But we'll be back next week on Monday, same time, 7 till 8 p.m. Today I probably might wrap it up a bit earlier than usual, because I don't have anything more to add to this conversation. But again, as I said, little experiment for the rest of 2025. Forgive me if I don't show up in some of the Mondays, because as I've learned today, I was almost late for this one. But if I don't, I will let everyone know. But for now, it's every Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. British time. I will be here talking about all things photography. And yeah, next week's topic will be revealed later on in the week, as I did with this one, because I'm still trying to figure out what to talk about next time. But yeah, so until then, I will leave you there. And yeah, oh, before I went, hi Rebecca. Rebecca's just joined. Thank you so much. I hope you've been watching from the beginning. Thank you so much. I was just looking at the chat and I saw her there. Rebecca, thank you so much. Yeah, Rebecca is the one who provided me with my last week's topic, the first live topic. So Thank you. If you're here and you're watching, I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for that one. So yeah, I appreciate your contribution and always your support as usual. But yeah, so again, I'll be back again next week on Monday, 7 to 8. Yeah, so tell your friends, tell your family to tune in. And yeah, if you're watching this after the live, leave in the comment section. Leave in the comment section what would you like me to talk about next. So it might be in the next live, or if not, in other lives to come. So yeah, but as I said, I will share the next live's topic later on in the week, and then I'll schedule it so you can click the notify me button, and then once I go live you'll be notified that I've gone live. So yeah, I think I've got that on lockdown for now. So yeah, anyway, I will leave you guys at that, and I hope you have a really productive week, and I'll catch you next week. Bye everyone. Bye.